Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today on another absolutely beautiful day here in Hollandale Beach. The weather has been a great friend of late, and it looks like it's going to continue through a big weekend here at Gulfstream Park. 9-race card today. Brian Nadeau, Angela Herman with you on another beautiful day. Rainbow Six getting big, $200,000 in the gross jackpot guarantee.
Yeah, looks good. And the sequence hasn't had too many changes to it. A couple for my own selections, but really a card light of scratches, just a couple of jockey changes, and that $200,000 guarantee, as you mentioned, in the pick six that starts in the fourth.
Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later on. Ron Nicoletti will be up. We'll have his tickets. Samantha Perry will have her tickets as well. She hit the late pick 5 yesterday, so lots to choose from, and we'll have my ticket here in the opener in the early pick 5, and we'll take a look at that right now. $12 ticket. I did scratch out of a horse here in the opener, which we'll get to. Back-to-back singles for me. Number 3, Attentive in race 2, a good turf race, a good starter, optional claimer there. Grand Rock, another single for me in race 3. The order is 32 in the 4th. Surprise payoff on top, and there's the spread in race 5, a starter optional claimer routing on the Tapeta. We've got a video of Commander Flynn coming up. I thought he was really good winning last time, doing it a little bit against the flow of the racetrack, so we'll take a look at that in a little bit. But here back in the opener, we are on the Tapeta here, 12-5 maiden claimers. We're going 1.70 miles for 3-year-olds, and Angela, ready on the line for you. A lot of speed for Jose D'Angelo.
Yes, I think we both had the 4 Gotta Go Gator on top as the controlling speed in the race. I think that might fall into the hands of Ready on the Line and Napa Dude. I had to choose one or the other, so I chose the outside Ready on the Line. Has 2 starts since August when he was claimed by the D'Angelo barn. Seems that he's a good fit at this level. I don't think that he had a very taxing pace last time, but it was his first time around 2 turns. So I give him the benefit of the doubt there and hope that maybe this second route try will be a successful one for him.
Yeah, I agree. The scratch of Gotta Go Gator is big because it takes not only a horse that could win this race, it takes a lot of heat out of the pace situation. I went to Heart Boy, Mateo, who actually beat Ready on the Line last time. You can see comes back to win. Well, the race he came back to win was the race Heart Boy was in last time. I thought he ran well to be second. He's got a stalking gear. We tend to think that plays best routing on the Tapeta. Miguel Vasquez down on the inside is there as well. We just swapped our top 2, and basically we're making good TV here because we've got the 3 Napa Dude, we've got the 6 Buddha Boy in the mix as well. But I mean, I kind of feel the top 2 are a little bit of cut above here.
I would agree with that. Napa Dude is a question as he is getting his price tag cut in half. But Joe Orsino and this move, not necessarily great friends. I mean, he's 5 for 101 third out, 2 for 56 as far as the maiden claimers go. And when he does chop them in price like this, he's 0 for 6 in the last 5 years. Some numbers against him, but the horse himself, a decent enough fit. And I don't blame anybody who likes him on the front end.
Yeah, I read in here as well. That's a positive, too. We'll get to the turf. We'll get to a firm turf. Of course, for race 2, kicks off the early pick 4. Samantha put together a ticket. We'll take a look at it. As I mentioned, she hit the late pick 5 yesterday. Just $3, and she's got a couple singles in there as well, which I tend to agree with. She's got a couple here, Attentive and So Street. Well, So Street's going to be a little bit of value in here because Freedom Matters will take a lot of money as well. Grand Rock is the one I have. She's going to go provincial down towards the inside in race 4, and then she spreads a little bit in race 5th, including Commander Flynn, who, as I mentioned, I do have on top, and we will show a replay here. Back to the second. It's a good one on the turf. Again, a firm turf course that's been looking so good out there in this starter optional claimer. 4-year-olds and up, and you went to, well, let's talk about So Street. Samantha's got this one in the mix as well. You're going to get a square price in here because they're definitely going to bet Attentive in Freedom Matters on top. Jose Ortiz aboard So Street.
This was a difficult one for me to get through. I think this was one of the last ones that I ended up on a winner. Jose Ortiz and So Street are going to team up with Mike Matz, who took this horse over in August of last year. He has speed. He's towards the outside. Now, it's going to be a question if he can shake loose of either of the horses to his inside and outside. I thought that would be crucial for So Street, as he seems to do better when he is up front by himself. But those were fairly slow paces at Laurel and Pimlico. There's more questions with him than there are definites, but So Street has that speed and should be a decent price. That was all I was asking for in a field like this because it is contentious and it seems very balanced from a pace standpoint.
And it's a good spot if you can come up with something a little bit outside the box like So Street. You're going to get paid because they're going to bet Attentive hard. They're going to bet Freedom Matters. To me, I'm not going to use both in my early pick 5 to double the ticket. I'm going to pick one. I went with Attentive down towards the inside for Ray Handel. If you're not familiar with Ray, he's down here this winter from New York. He's a good, solid young trainer that he's a name you're going to hear, and he puts horses in the right spot. Attentive, no doubt, has the best turf form in here. Now, he hasn't run on the grass for Ray Handel, but I do think getting back to the turf is beneficial for him.
I would agree, and a lot of very good horsemen agree with you that Attentive is a horse to look at. You can see up and down the line all the claims, and Attentive has landed in this barn now for a few starts in a row. They know him a little bit better. They finally get him back to the turf. There are some positives here, except for the price. Freedom
Matters, you went with over Attentive, at least underneath in second. Boy, he didn't fire at all last time, but again, if you can get past that race, he's got form.
Yeah, I was willing to let that one go in lieu of all the starts prior to that, where it didn't seem he needed to bring his track with him. He was just very solid in a lot of spots that they put him in. If you toss out some of the stakes tries, he goes up and down the class ladder and seems to perform wherever they put him in the race, too. He can sit a little bit off it. He does have speed, and Freedom Matters, I think, would have been my top choice if he didn't have so much speed to his inside. I thought he might get a wide trip, so I did put him in second.
Take a look at race 3 here. These are 12-5 maiden claimers, sprinting 6 on a fast main track. Jesus Rios off his mounts today, so Jose Ortiz is going to ride the 1 Aldo's Dream. Take note of that. We both have Grand Rock on top. He's 8-5 on the morning line. I could see him being shorter than that on post. His last race, I know he was beaten up a little bit, went 7th. It was a very fast race. No one in here is over there fast.
Yeah, nobody's as fast as he is sprinting, and I think that Grand Rock could be gone very early in the race. If you can dismiss his route try, even then, he was competitive on the front end. He's taken money every time. The barn put in 2, but the outside runner is cutting back in distance, which isn't necessarily a strong move for this barn either. They put the blinkers on him, but I still don't think he's as fast as Grand Rock. And I took these 2 1-2 because I think that they're pretty interchangeable on top if you really have a strong angle with one, but they're both a good fit.
Yeah, the bottom line is if Grand Rock runs either of his Tapeta sprint races, he can't be beat unless somebody jumps way up. We talked a little bit about the 8. Well, talk a little bit about the 8, excuse me. Preston Murray, you're going to maybe draw a line through the road. The blinkers go on. He did draw well to be outside some of the other speed.
Yeah, and they're 2 for 16 with cutting maiden claimers back. To me, this means that the horse didn't show enough in the morning for them to even bother trying him at a sprint. When they go 2 turns for their first 2 starts and then cut back, it seems like plan B to me. So that's what gave the favor to the 2 over the 8. But like you said, I think these 2 are very much the ones to beat, and just so happens they come from the same stable.
Manikai for me in second. Finally gets a better post. Broke kind of almost last from the rail on debut. Was marooned last time. 7.5 on the turf. You know, maybe he puts his best foot forward today. Blinkers on as well. They all add Lasix as newly turned 3-year-olds. Ramon Parrish riding the 6. Zach and Jill, if you're not familiar with him, Mid-Atlantic rider. He's got 22 career wins. He did ride this horse last time at the end of last year. So 3 down, 6 to go on Gulfstream today. When we come back, Ron Nicoletti, who'll be, he's in the waiting room. He'll be up with a ticket, and he'll be with us later this afternoon. Stay tuned.
This is a championship meet.
Yeah.
All the best jockeys in the world are here, and I'm excited to ride against them.
We back.
And you get to watch some really incredible, talented athletes out there.
Yeah.
To us, it's a place to be in the winter.
I love Gulfstream Park because of the racing.
The palm trees, the beach is right here. The horse racing is some of the best in the country.
A lot of good horses come out of here. If you want to go to the next level, Gulfstream Park was the place to come.
I remember the first time I came to Gulfstream, it was like this big fairy tale place. All the history. And all these great horses, trainers, jockeys. It was everything that I ever dreamed of.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau, Angela Herman with you. 3 down, 4 to go. That means we've got Rainbow 6-time. It's growing already. $200,000 in the gross jackpot guarantee. I mentioned Ron Nicoletti will be with me for race 1 as Angela shifts over to the paddock. We'll take a look at his ticket now. We'll see if it's the a little lighter than the standard playbook. He just kind of mixed the numbers around. 43.20 goes to 32.40. He's got a 3, by three, early pick 3 to start the sequence. He seems to have all the main players in there. I'm assuming his best bet of the day, because Ronnie always singles his best bet in the sequence, is number 2, One America in race 7. I think a horse that is very, very dangerous for Claudio Gonzalez, 3 deep in race 8, and that's a good one. Starter optional claimer for the Statebreds on the Tapeta. 2 deep in the finale with number 4, Best Defense, and number 7, Lawful. That's my best bet of the day. 32.40 for the legend Ron Nicoletti. And back to race 4 here. Again, kicking off that rainbow, 6 furlongs on the fast main track. $35,000 maiden claimers. Down inside to you, Smoking Cloud at a price.
I do like Smoking Cloud, and this horse is one of 2 that Kathy Ritvo had entered on the day for these connections. One of them did scratch, and I actually liked Rob Don later. Wrong race. But Smoking Cloud, is one of 2 from this stable. And Smoking Cloud actually ran a really good race last time after missing the break. I mean, he got tucked back on the turn, kept coming around, and even though the finish against maiden special weights wasn't what you would like to see when he's going forward to start number 3 and again trying something new going over to the main track, he's worked really well on the main track and hasn't raced on it yet. Raced once on the turf, once on the synthetic. Now maybe he can use some of that speed that he's shown in the morning, in the afternoon, gets Lasix, just gets a lot of changes. And I thought that a field that had a lot of questions as well, best to take a price, and Smoking Cloud will be one. I don't love the rail draw, but Sonny Leone is going to take over. The mare's been a very good producer. And some of Cloud Computing's offspring get better with age, with racing experience. Smoking Cloud fits all of those boxes. So I'm going to try to take a price to beat Pounceable, but I think that you like this horse an awful lot, and I think Samantha did too.
Yeah, surprise payoff we'll talk about first. I've got that one on top. And, you know, back to what you said about Smoking Cloud, this is not a bad race to throw something at the wall and see if it sticks, because surprise payoff, we have no idea if this horse can run at all. 2 maiden special weights at Saratoga, completely drubbed. He beat 4 horses total. Now this drop is seismic. I understand that. And he did show some speed and gets Lasix now, but you know, it's a real guessing game what you're getting on the drop and the layoff.
No, that's fair, but you're getting that with a lot of these. Yeah. Some are taking a hike up in class, a lot more coming down in class. So it's very hard to assess what you really have under the hood with these. But if you're going to give me surprise payoff at, what do you think, about 2-1, 5-2, something like that? You're going to give me Smoking Cloud at 6 or 8-1. You don't have that different of races, even though one was against Statebreds. I just think that for horses that are fairly similar, always take the better price. And if you want to mix the one in between them as well, I thought that he made sense. I took it 1-2. I did use your 3 and the 7 in the 4th.
Pounceable is the 2, and I think a lot of the price on surprise payoff depends a lot about what they do with the 2. Do they bet? Do they not bet? Rohan Crichton will take a look at a stat here off the claim, and it's a seismic stat, and 38%. Look at the ROI, 331 off the claim, and that's a 40-horse sample as well. So you could see Pounceable moving forward. Irad Ortiz Jr. is here. Now, he did claim him in August, and he hasn't been seen since. We'll see what we get today, but it is probably a horse that they're going to bet a little bit on to race 5 now. We are out on the Tapeta, routing in the starter optional claimer here at 1 mile and 70 yards. I mentioned already Samantha hit the late pick 5 yesterday on a very modest ticket. Take a look at her ticket today in this one that kicks off here, $9. She'll spread here. She's got Commander Flynn, who will be our first replay of the day, coming up in a second. Her single is in race number 6, Riding Pretty, a horse both her and I played last time with a brutal defeat in there. 2 deep in race 7, 3 deep in race 8, and then another single in race 9, Lawful, which happens to be my best bet of the day. Very affordable at $9. So let's tee up Commander Flynn here in race number 5, and we'll bring up this replay now. We've talked a little bit about that speed on the Tapeta. Routing isn't necessarily the best spot. I understand this horse is 8-5 here, but I want to give you the finishing order. It's 1, 8, 9, and the 8 and the 9 are out the back here, and they're off the pace, and you're going to see Commander Flynn just keeps on finding in this race. Again, he's a strong favorite, I get it, but my point more was that he basically bottomed out the rest of the field in 2 closers, picked up the pieces. I think this is one of those efforts that's a little better than maybe it looks, at least on paper.
He did everything right, and he started out his career at half the price that he was when he broke his maiden. Obviously, things went well for this horse, and he continues to improve, and he got the lead and never looked back. I was very impressed with this race as well from Commander Flynn, but I wanted to take a horse that had some class test to him and would be a decent price, and that was the outside runner, Malek. Now, do you picture Commander Flynn getting loose in here, or do you think that he might have to duke it out or sit just off the pace?
Yeah, I would think he wired last time. I would think it's a send mission. To me, it's more the question of who goes and take note. Jose Morelos is going to ride the 5 now with Jorge Reyes off his mounts again today. So it just depends on who goes with him, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be sent. Melnick for you towards the outside. Blinkers do go on with Luis Saez.
Yes, I thought that Malek and Luis Saez teamed up could get more pace out of this horse. And we've only seen him going 2 turns. Obviously, he handles it well. But the blinkers in the outside hole, I thought, would give him opportunity to at least go up and keep Commander Flynn honest. I also thought that lightning tones between the two would ensure that there's at least a fair pace and that maybe Malek could get the best of it on the outside. Saez has more options than I thought both lightning tones and Commander Flynn would to his inside, just by virtue of the post draw. But all 3 of them are in the mix for me. I respect Commander Flynn's chances to take them all the way, but I do wonder if the outside horse will wake up with the class drop, with the blinkers, with the jock change, and with that cozy outside post.
English Painter 8-5 on the morning line. You've got to respect him. Saffie Joseph Jr., Tyler Gaffalione teaming up here, and he ran well last time. I don't think he has a huge edge over the rest of these, and he's going to be a short price, too.
Exactly, and given that he's inside, given that he probably doesn't have the speed to go get the lead, he's going to need some things to break his way, so I opted for a horse that might be able to make his own trip.
Late pick 4 time in race 6, and I've said it time and time again. They're betting these pick 5s big. I've been really surprised, or not surprised, but impressed at how much money has been going into the pick 4s. Got almost $500,000 the other day. We'll take a look at my ticket here. $10, excuse me. I lost a horse with a scratch in here, so $10. We will spread in this race. It's a really, really good optional claimer on the turf in the 6, and then I get much more condensed in race 7. That is the order, 47. In race 8, 27 is the order. Marissa's Mission, a replay of that one coming up. And then again, my best bet of the day is Lawful in race number 9. 3-1 on the morning line, $10 ticket here. And this is a spread race to me, Angela. It's a tough one on the turf. A lot of these horses look very similar to each other on paper, and I don't think it's a big surprise that out of 8 selections, what do we've got, 6 of them or 7 of them are different. Take it away with the 9, Riding Pretty.
Riding Pretty almost got there last time. She was weaving between horses, just came up short by a neck. Now, they'll put the blinkers on her today, perhaps to try to keep her from having to make up 10 lengths in the stretch. She did it very well, and Riding Pretty did that with a very brave effort. And it was also her first start after the ship and after August. I don't think that we're going to get 8-1. I think it'd be more fair to expect maybe 9-2 on Riding Pretty, but given her outside draw, and again, changes. I'm always about changes, changes, changes. If a horse is going to try to improve. I mean, she only needs to improve a neck, but I think that Riding Pretty won't provide the value of the morning line. I still think that she would be the value of this race because I think the other contenders are pretty clear-cut and will take money.
Isabella Alexander is out, by the way. That is the 8. My long shot here is number 7, State of Mind, who should be a square price. Josie Carroll brings down a relatively select group. Each winner from her base at Woodbine does a really, really good job. And this Daughter of Kitten's Joy out of a Stormcat mare, you don't see that a lot anymore on the bottom, at least, of pedigrees. And I think getting to the turf is going to move this one up.
I would think so, too. And if you talk about Woodbine shippers, you have to gauge the class that she's been running against. I mean, she went in a couple of stakes races up there against one of the other favorites, Scottish Symphony, who only ran in a maiden special weight up there. She was very impressive in winning that race. But if you do judge them by the company that they keep, and you like both of these Woodbine shippers, which obviously you would think it would be a good transition coming down from that Woodbine synthetic onto Gulfstream Park turf, I think that they shouldn't be as far apart on the board as they will be, and State of Mind is a good long shot to throw into any pick 4s and pick 5s.
Scottish Symphony, as we talked about, is 4-1 on the morning line. That's your favorite, so you can kind of tell what kind of race this is. A really, really good betting race. She ran fast last time, breaking her maiden. That was obviously on there. Tapeta up there, but another one that's bred for the turf.
You thought it was fast. I mean, she did what she was supposed to do, but she crawled along on the front end. The Scottish Symphony was very well rated by Kimura that day. She burst away in the stretch. She held on by half a length as the favorite, but I actually look to the Finest City at Presque Isle as more of a good yardstick against these. She was second that day behind Florida Somber, who's 4 for 5, and that is one heck of a way to start off your racing career, even though she is a Pennsylvania bred going against Pennsylvania breds. A lot of times that can be biting off more than you can chew, but she handled it beautifully, handled the stretch out well. She's a daughter of Mendelssohn. Any surface shouldn't be an issue for her, and I thought that Scottish Symphony, if you were looking outside of Riding Pretty's state of mind, I thought that she was the next alternative, and she is going to be tough to run down.
Take a look quickly at a stat for Pelota Sisters. That's the 6, and this is Graham Motion and Jose Ortiz teaming up. They don't do it a lot, but you can see 33% with a big ROI that you would expect from 33%. And Jose gets aboard here. She did break her maiden over soft turf at Delaware Park. We'll see what we get today, but I just feel like when you see something like that, a really good turf trainer reaching out for a top job, maybe something to take note of. We'll take a look at the late pick 3 now in race 7, which kicks off there. We'll scratch the 1 down inside Rabdon, and on top for you, One America. I think that was Ronnie's single. Take it away. Claudio Gonzalez won a race yesterday, right back today.
Yeah, I scratched into this horse, actually. I loved Rabdon today because I thought there was a lot of pace in here. I bet One America last time, and One America ran very gutsy in defeat. Hadn't run since October. He got stuck on his left lead, but he was so determined to beat Double Play King home after those two had ding-donged on the front end. I really liked the effort out of One America, and I think that it's an excellent stepping stone into this spot. I don't love that he inherits the rail, but I'm going to try to take the speed of the speed and see if he can't go all the way. 7 furlongs, of course, will be a challenge, but if he handled it as well as he did off the layoff, 1 more furlong shouldn't be asking too much, I would guess, at this point of his campaign. But One America might take a little bit more heat, and I don't know if he can carry it all the way this time. Maybe next time, but I do scratch into him and take it 2, 4, 7, 6.
Tree on top for me, the 4. First time gelding, the ultimate equipment change, coming in off a July layoff here. Terry Pompey does such a good job with everything she saddles. It's not a huge sample. She does have a couple wins off this kind of layoff. And this is the one, you're going to have to thread the needle a little bit because, as you mentioned, the speed of One America, maybe some speed to his outside too. But I kind of think he's well spotted in here.
I would agree. I think that Terry Pompey might have a very good weekend in looking at some of the horses that she's sending out, and Shastri is one of those that fits on the drop, but it's not a drop to the bottom. So it's not a total concern. It's maybe just we don't have an allowance horse on our hands. You're going to try him at this level, but they're also going to try him with just 1 race since January of last year. That was the red flag for me. I think on talent alone, this is the horse to beat. But I did have to put Shastri in second until we really find out what we're working with, since we have a horse that's won for his last 365 days, just even hitting the track.
The 7 is the real wild card in here, Mr. Booma, who will get bet, and you see stakes races in his past performances. We haven't seen him since May, and now he's in for 50. What do you get today?
I look at Dale Romans, tried to dig a little bit deeper on bringing horses down here. I mean, he's 13% at Gulfstream, but putting him in for attack for the first time, he's 6 for 41, but he's also 1 for 17 with this kind of layoff. I think that this is one I'll look for down the road, but another one with some quality to him. Fits the mold a bit of Shastri, where you had a horse with high hopes to him that didn't pan out, and now we're trying to figure out really where he does fit into the scheme of things, so I took him 3rd.
Late double time in race number 8. We're back on the Tapeta routing here in this state-bred optional claimer. Take note, we just got this one late. The Mar will be ridden by Jorge Ruiz. Jesus Rios off his mounts today. The Mar, Jorge Ruiz. This is a tough race. Number 8 towards all the way to the outside. Back chat for you, Kent Sweezy teaming up with Edgar Zayas.
Yeah, it was an impressive effort last time, so they bump him up, but they also put him back in state-bred company. You have to be forgiving of the last time that we saw him in July against this sort of group, because prior to that, he had run very well against state-bred allowances, optional claimers, and he drew the outside. I didn't think that he would have an overwhelming amount of pace to chase, but enough where Backchat, I think, should be in good position, and he had shown more speed in the past than he has in his past couple of races. Maybe Edgar Zayas shakes him up, gets him in the mood to stay closer to the pace, and he can get the jump on some of the deep closers.
Yeah, it looks like this might be a tighter group early on because of what you said. There doesn't appear to be a lot of heat in here. I went to Marissa's Mission towards the inside. We'll take a look at his race last time at Woodbine. Not necessarily a lot going on here, but now we're seeing Marty Drexler pop back in the entries here, and he's the 3 out there on the outside. Thank you, Bob. And I thought he just ran really, really well under a good trip. There's no doubt about it. A good set of circumstances, but it was a fast figure that day. The other thing I like too at Marissa's Mission, he's got a couple wins here at Gulfstream Park. And now again, we're seeing Marty Drexler pop back in the entries for the first time since last year at the championship meet. If you're not familiar with Marty, he does a really, really good job, woodbine base, so he's got a feel for the Tapeta. He came down here last winter for the first time, and he really acquitted himself nicely, won several races at the championship meet. He does a good job spotting his horses. Marissa's Mission, to me, looks like that kind of horse.
I took Marissa's Mission second. That was a great turnaround from April to December. And I think that if he and Backchat get similar trips, they probably should end up 1-2. I thought that they would in this spot. And I like that Tyler Gaffleone is getting aboard him too. When I think of one, I think of the other as far as riders who have been aboard him, maybe stay after him, get him involved in the race early, and give Marissa's Mission less to do late. I think that they'll be a good fit together. They're probably the horse to beat. But if you do look for underneath options, because I don't think that either one of our horses are going to be out of this world, where do you go for a long shot in the 8th?
Yeah, I mean, no, there's not really anyone in here. Over the Channel's clearly the horse to beat, I think, at 5-2 on the morning line. And he's got that huge figure race, at least 2 back. And my favorite name on the racetrack, J.P. Hellish, is down there.
That's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah, towards the inside as well. And he's done a good job. Monica McGoey got a win with him last time.
Yeah, and do you think that he could wire it? This was the best possibility for me. I thought Sunset Provision would keep him in check as far as that goes. But he can come from just a touch off the pace. J.P. Hellish and Backchat, I thought could get the jump on some of the other horses like Drillmatic, Timmy M, maybe even Marissa's Mission. But it's one that's, I think, going to become more of a rider's race because you have horses that are so versatile as opposed to one-trick ponies. The 8th is very interesting, and I thought a spread race in some of the horizontal sequences.
Take a look at the finale. We're back on the Tapeta and a maiden optional claimer here. These are 3-year-olds going 5.5. The Florida breds don't have to run for a tag, and well, no, you lead it off with Mr. American, and we'll bring up the replay at the same time, and you can kind of talk about it a little bit, because this one I thought ran very sneaky well last time.
I don't know how sneaky it was. He just ran well. Mr. American got up very nicely to get second behind Smooth Rico, and you can see Smooth Rico up front was in the jaws of a very testing pace. They went 21-3, 45 and change, but Mr. American made his presence felt once again, as he had in his past 3, and the key for this horse seems to have been moving over to Tapeta. Now, Mr. American is coming in between horses, you can see, but Mr. American just barely gets up for second. Didn't get to keep his momentum going, but gets the nose down, as you can see, and was making good headway on Smooth Rico. If he gets any sort of more smooth trip and clear lane, Mr. American might break his maiden and start 6th.
Yeah, you're trying to get a day from Kathy Ripko.
I know. That's the horse I was referring to earlier.
Yeah.
I did take a couple of them, but Mr. American ran behind Grand Boy, who's 2 for 2. And like I said, at this level on the Tapeta seems to be a new horse. And I think that he has the experience edge and a lot more going for him over some of his less experienced competition or horses who haven't tried the synthetic yet.
My best bet of the day is Lawful in here, and we'll take a look at a staff for trainer Cherie DeVoe, and it's a big one. This is second-time maidens for her, and it's 26% with a big ROI. And Lawful, to me, got run off his feet a little bit. He was 36-1 on debut, which was a little surprising in and of itself, and ran very, very well. I know they flew early, but the pace of that race held. The winners were 1-2 the entire way around, and I feel this is a big class drop. Those are open maiden special weights. Now he gets to dip in a little bit with some Florida breds, with some $50,000 claimers. I do expect to move forward today.
Yes, I would too. And just by virtue of it being 5 furlongs, it is really tough, especially for a first-time starter, to make up all that ground and get the job done. But Cherie DeVoe is 8 for 32, second time out, if they hit the board first out. She's just really good at getting horses to keep moving forward early in their careers. Obviously, this one came ready to roll, and if Lawful even takes a tiny step forward, Lawful is going to be very, very tough to hold off. I don't know who you expect to set the pace in here. That was the main question with me in the 9th. Who goes up and challenges Mr. America? Do you expect it out of Best Defense, a first-time starter? Where do you see some sort of solid pace for this horse to run down coming from?
Yeah, Best Defense, I would assume, is the leader in here. Irad is aboard. The blinkers go on. There's a lot happening here. This horse debuted with Todd Pletcher in October at Belmont at Aqueduct on the turf. Now Kent Sweezy takes over. He's actually a part owner as well. I like the fact that he reaches out for Irad Ortiz Jr. in here, and this horse, chased on debut. I would expect him to be in front early.
I would too. I just don't know if it's going to get hot and heavy enough for a horse that's going to come from last. Maybe we won't see Lawful in last, but I thought that that's what put things in the favor of Mr. American, where he could sit just off the pace or, if need be, go up and push the issue.
That's 9 down here on our Thursday card. Fast and Firm, 200 in the Rainbow 6 as well in race 4. But before we leave you, we'll take a look at the lightning round here. And we had a really, really good feature yesterday for the fillies and mares. And Classy Edition, boy, she was coming in off a layoff, hadn't run since April. She did it, and she did it the right way.
And she was feeling her oats out here in the paddock and made good work on the track. Look at this. She's getting out a little bit in the stretch, but continues to draw away. And Signal from Noise looked excellent coming onto the track. Made a good rally at this filly and was no match. Very much second best in Classy Edition. Picks right back up where she left off.
Yeah, I would think this is a kickoff to what her connections now hope is a pretty serious campaign on a filly that dabbled in stakes and ran very well. She was second in the Devona Dale here last year. This is a new one we're going to show on the lightning round, but the Pegasus, obviously, we know that's January 28th. There's a huge tournament that day, too. If you're a tournament player, take note. The prize pool is $250,000. There's feeders, and you can see the top 5 win NHC seats. That's the big one. 2 in the Breeders' Cup as well. That's huge. You can just go play at ExpressBet, play at Gulfstream, play at Santa Anita. Just go to the website and check it all out. And $50,000 is seeded in the prize pool, too. That's always a big deal. So just take note of that, and we'll hit you with that throughout the next couple weeks as Pegasus is upon us here. It's 2 weeks from Saturday, and we can't wait. No best. Did you lose your best bet?
My best bet scratched. Okay. Yes, I had Rob down, I believe, in the 7th. But your best bet is in the 9th. Yeah,
we're going to wait to the end of the day with Lawful for me in the finale. Your long shot today?
My long shot today is a little bit earlier in the card. It's race 4. It's that one Smoking Cloud. And I'm going to see if it's a big day for the Ritmo barn. I'm hoping that he can pull a mild upset and start number 3 and his very first on the dirt.
Long shot for me is State of Mind, and check out the 6. That kicks off the late pick 4. It's a really good starter optional claimer on the turf. Nitrous Channel is back tomorrow. I know you thought he was going to be really tough to beat. He ran well in his comeback. He just caught a buzzsaw.
Yes, he did. A horse that had some seasoning on him, had excellent speed, and Living Water has made a very good living on the front end. Just ran this one a little off his feet, but Nitrous Channel still ran well in defeat and was drawing away in second. As you can see, people weren't picking up him. He was drawing away from them and making inches on Living Water. 6.5 might be a good fit. He's a little more fit now. The price probably won't be anything to jump at, but he's still a very impressive horse with the big future, and it keeps going tomorrow. Yeah,
and second start off a long layoff, so yeah, expect him to be a lot tighter. And last but not least, I'm in the hot seat, as we like to call it, and beat the expert this Saturday. Select more winners than me, and you get a polo, and it's as simple as that. Log on to GulfstreamPark.com/wagering. It's a free contest. Get involved. You just basically got to put your picks in on Saturday and pick more than I do on Saturday. It's a good double stakes card with some Florida bred stakes races as well. So that's a wrap. 9 down for us. Angela will be with us all afternoon out on the turf course. Ronnie's coming up for the opener as well. And upstairs, PIL will guide you through the card here.
We're ready for the start. They're off.